Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to learn how to make this neckline and also draft this princess dart bustier. If it is something you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned till the end of the video. So in this particular video we'll be drafting the pattern. So to begin with, I'll mark 1 inch down from my pattern paper and roll out a straight line, and this will serve as my starting line. Okay, with that being done, I'll go down to mark my bust point, my waist and my hip line. So guys, after running out the lines, I'll proceed to mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2. So in this case, it's 7 inches. So I'll mark my 7 inches right here. I'll mark my neck width of 3.5. Then I'll mark my neck depth of 3.5 as well. This neckline or neck depth will be adjusted later on. I'll go down by 1 inch and mark my shoulder slope, and I'll connect it to my neck width like so. After connecting it to my neck width, I'll go down and mark 3.5 so as to enable me have a perfect round neckline, although this will be altered later on. So I'll square up that place and then I'll roll out my neckline. I'll go down by 7.5 inches for my armhole depth, and I'll connect like so as to enable me mark out my armhole like so. Ensure your line is straight. So I'll find the midpoint of my armhole depth, and then I'll go in at that point by half of an inch. I'll also go to the armhole, the chest line. I'll mark my bust round measurement divided by 4, and then I'll connect the points to form my armhole cuff like so. On the waistline, I'll go down by 8 inches from the waistline to mark my blouse length and also my hip length. My hip length is 9 inches, but for the purpose of this blouse, I'll be using 8 inches since it is not a gown. Then I'll roll out the line. I'll go to my waistline and mark my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. My nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, I'll mark the same on the hip line and on the bust line. This will serve as my dart line. On my waistline, I'll go in by 0.75 inches on both sides. I'll mark 6 inches downwards from the waistline, and I'll come down by 1 inch at the bust point line and then connect to form my dart legs like so. I'll proceed to mark 1/4 of my waist, and then I'll go to my bust line, do the same thing, but this is irrelevant since I already have my bust measurement on my chest line. Then I'll go to my hip line, mark 1/4 of my hip, and then for the exaggerated effect, I'll add 3 inches to 1/4 of my hip measurement. I later reduced this to 2.5 in the process of sewing. So you can use 3 inches, it will still come out fine. So on my waistline, I'll replace 0.75 at the waist line. I didn't replace 1.5 because I want it to have a cinched effect. I want to cinch my waist, so I had to replace only one of those measurements at the dart. What I mean is that the total inches at the dart, the total measurement I use for my dart is 1.5, but I'm going to replace half of that measurement at the waistline so as to have a cinched effect. So I'll locate my underbust and then I'll roll out a short line to help me tighten up my underbust. And then I'll measure my underbust measurement at that line. Whatever I have left, I'm going to share it into 2. One will go to the center front and one will be at the side front from the dart leg. So what I have here was 1.5. I'm going to go in here from the dart leg, 0.75 on one side and 0.75 on the other side, and then I'll connect it with a cuff to the bust point and then connect it straight waist to the waist dart. As you can see in the video, I connected it to the 1 inch below the bust line, the bust point line, and then I'll connect on both sides with a very slight curve to form my under bust contour. So now at the armhole area, I'm going to come down by 4 inches. Then I'll connect it with a curve to meet the dart leg to form my princess line. I'll contour the princess line on both sides by 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch to the top and 1/2 inch to the bottom. Then I'll connect it to my princess dart line like so. And then I'll extend my princess dart line by 1 inch. If you have any sharp points, kindly blend it with your free hand. I'll extend the line by 1 inch so as to match up so as not to run short of fabric when I'm sewing the princess dart line. I'll add 1 inch at the side and also connect it to the 1 inch at the princess dart line to replace any shortage this contour might have caused. I'll go down by 1.5 inches to draw my bust dart. I'll take a bust dart of 1.5 inches and connect it to my bust point like so. And then I'll redraw my side front. To enable me close up this dart, I'm going to cut it open. But before I do that, I'll come down at the center front by 1.5 inches. And then I'll go up at the side by 1.5 inches and connect the line so as to shape my blouse. This is to give the blouse a nice shape. don't want it coming out blunt or straight. I'll cut my paper, cut out my pattern so as to enable me close up the side dart. I'll slash the bust line dart open and then I'll close it up like so. To enable me close up the dart, I'm going to slash the princess dart line open. You can also slash your waistline open, your waist dart open as well, but I choose to slash the princess dart line. Close it up like so with your gum or your paper tape and redraw your side seam. Use your masking tape to hold it in place while you cut out the side front. If you're new here, if this is the first time you're coming across my video, kindly subscribe to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up so that when I post new things, you'll get notified. In this channel, I post recipes, fashion tutorials, and lifestyle. Close up your post dart like so and cut out your pattern. Add ½ inch at the shoulder line so that your bust point will not shift upwards. For the neckline, I'll go down by 8 inches. I'll be using 8 inches for this, and then I'll go down by 3.5. I'll connect with a slight curve to my 3.5 neckline depth, like so. I'll go down by 3.5, then I'll go inwards at that point by 1 inch, slantly. Notice I didn't go in straight, it was a slant kind of. And then I'll connect it to the 8 inches that I marked with a very slight curve. Slight curve, please. And then I'll cut out my neckline. If you're coming across my video for the first time, kindly hit on the subscribe button, like and share my video so that others can also benefit. Thank you. So as you can see, my princess dart seam has aligned. So for the back pattern, I'm going to roll out my zipper allowance at first. Then I'll draw out my starting line, which will also serve as my shoulder line. Please pardon my paper, I folded it while keeping it, that's why it's giving me tough time. So I'll measure half of my shoulder measurement and go down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope, and then on 3.5 inches for my neck width and 1 inch for my neck depth. And then I'll connect it like so. I'm going to go down by 7.5 inches for my armhole depth, and then then I'll connect it like so to form my armhole depth line. I'll measure my bust line, my waistline of 14.5. Don't forget that the front neckline was longer by 1.5. And then I'll mark 8 inches down from the waistline, the length of my blouse. I check to confirm if my lines are straight. And if it wasn't straight or if it's not straight, you make every adjustment. I'll mark my nipple to nipple measurement on my hip line, my waistline, and my bust line, and then I'll connect it with a straight line to form my dart line. On my waistline, I'll go in by 0.75 on both sides and then connect my dart legs together like so. On the waistline, I'll go in by half an inch and connect it upwards and downwards. That's to prevent the zip from bulging. On my bust line, I'll mark my bust measurement divided by 4. And then on my chest line, I'll do the same thing so as to connect my armhole curve. A quarter of my waist measurement plus 0.75 inches, that is taken from the dart allowance, and then I'll mark a quarter of my hip measurement on my hip line plus 3 inches. Remember, we added 3 inches for the front hip line for the exaggerated effect. So I ran out of space here. I had to add an extra paper to complete my measurement. So I'll connect from my waist to my hip line, and then I'll connect it to my bust, to my chest line, like so. I'll come up at the side by 1.5, and then I'll go down at the center back by 1.5. Connect it like so to give my blouse a very nice shape. My shoulder allowance, and then I'll cut out my pattern. Finally, subscribe to my channel so as to get notified each time I post new updates. Like and share this video. It will go a long way to help my channel grow, please. Thank you guys. Thank you very much, and God bless you. If you have watched to this point, I want to appreciate you for watching. Thank you so much. I don't take this for granted. Like, subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching. To draw your princess dart line, kindly place your ruler like so and draw the dart line before cutting out your pattern. You can also use a basic dart if you want to, but I prefer this princess dart line at the back as well.
See